We begin tonight with Lynn, who is a former ethics commissioner, Commission commissioner, and was called the backbone of the Ethics Commission by the San Francisco Examiner. He graduated with honors from Hastings Law and is presently a member of the Green Party, and you continue to advocate for some kind of an ethics standard in San Francisco politics, even though I don't think we have one yet.
I think I've been busier in the last year since I've resigned than I was able to be while I was a commissioner. Commissioners are restricted by a lot of considerations because of the fact that complaints may come before them, so they have to maintain an absolute impartiality.
You have here in San Francisco the most hardcore politicians. Okay, I mean, we're talking about Feinstein, Willie Brown, Jon Bernstein, and part of what they did was create great political consultants, very powerful political consultants. And that's what you're up against at the Ethics Commission, is that they're very smart and they know how to go around whatever regulations you develop.
I'm not sure if that's the case.
My opinion.
Okay, we do have political consultants who have a national reach. Money in San Francisco is a viral infection which outmatches any other city in the country. The mayor spent 5 times as much per voter to be elected than Mayor Villaraigosa did in Los Angeles. And if you look at the two markets, San Francisco is a cheaper market to campaign in. So why is there this disparity? And there's this tremendous amount of money. The advantage to it is that I don't know how smartly they're using it.
You mean they?
The folks who control these big amounts of money every year in every campaign. It's the same. You'll find the same treasurers: Jim Sutton, Eric J. These folks have a tremendous advantage in terms of the last mayoral election. It was probably around $10 million when you take into account the Care Not Cash, the Stop Aggressive Panhandling ballot measures, all designed to give Gavin Newsom a brand name. They spent around $10 million to Matt Gonzalez's $1 million.
But I mean, what are you saying that somehow they broke the Ethics Commission regulations and ordinances in doing that?
Well, the problem is we don't know. The Ethics Commission isn't funded to do anything. The only investigators that they have on staff are fresh out of law school and have no experience in taking depositions, no trial experience. These aren't the types of folks who can go in and crack a sophisticated case.
And okay, it's constantly the chicken or the egg on this issue, okay? Yeah. And it's been that way for about as long as the commission's been around.
That's right.
You know, so where does the buck stop? I mean, obviously certain forces don't want the Ethics Commission to be effective.
The problem is that the Ethics Commission...
You don't disagree with that?
No. The Ethics Commission has historically seen the budget battle as being a political battle, and they see themselves as not being political. And that's a self-defeating view.
The Ethics Commission?
The Ethics Commission. As a result of that, they've always been underfunded. The grand jury issued a report 2 years ago citing the chronic underfunding of the Ethics Commission, and nothing's been done since then. The Board of Supervisors just had a hearing where the executive director of the Ethics Commission stood up and said that he only has half the staff he needs.
All right. So what has this done then to San Francisco politics? I mean, we have some new milestones on the horizon here. We have district elections, which is a way to get around those kinds of problems. Right.
Public financing.
Public financing, which will occur this time.
In the mayor's race, and has had an effect, I think, on supervisors' races. Historically, if you look at 1974, which is when a lot of campaign finance reforms generate from the Watergate era, there were two approaches Congress made in '74 to attack this problem. One was a series of regulations of expenditure they tried to regulate expenditures, but regulations of contributions and the like. This regulatory scheme is a little bit like the Securities Exchange Commission scheme, where you make sure that everything's disclosed, and if so, you can go forward. That takes money to enforce, and it's a sophisticated white-collar crime. We just don't fund that. We don't have regulation in San Francisco. Okay. The other approach they took was public financing. Well, the federal public financing system is in a shambles now, and in San Francisco, we started with the Board of Supervisors program. 2 years ago, we instituted the mayoral program, And the most important thing about the mayoral program is that when we designed it, we decided to design a program which would actually give enough money to attract candidates who would be interested in funding it.
And so who's running for mayor that's as a result of that?
Well, we don't know yet.
I mean, a potential candidate has how much public financing as a max?
If you raise $550,000, I think you get around $800,000.
You mean $800,000 in addition to your $500,000?
Right.
So you basically are looking at $1.3 million.
It's $1.375.
If you raise $500,000.
That's right. 500, 550. I don't have the exact numbers.
I see. Well, I mean, okay. So we have that frozen. We don't have any candidates coming forward to take advantage of that. You have an ethics commission staff that can't follow up on violations. You got an ethics commission that doesn't fight for its own budget. You said.
Right.
All right. So what is the solution? Or are you ready to raise the white flag and say it's hopeless? It ain't going to happen. There's too many forces at work, and even the commission itself is not willing to go out and fight those battles.
I think that there are incremental steps that can be taken and that could change the landscape. First one is televising the commission. What we need to do is we need to have the Ethics Commission present a public face so that its business is known by the public. Right now its hearings are not televised. If we start televising their hearings, the public will start commenting on what they're doing. And it may be, and I think it will be, that the public is going to be telling them, you should be out there fighting for your budget.
Let's go to it. Well, you see, but I see so many different commissions televised. The Taxi Commission, Small Business Commission. Yeah. I mean, it's a steady stream of commissions. I don't think that necessarily leads to more awareness, more activity. Give me another solution to this problem.
Well, but there's a difference in the type of business the Ethics Commission handles versus the Taxi Commission and the other commissions you cited. The Ethics Commission actually has decided elections in the past. In 2003, it took the district attorney's election away from Fazio and Hallinan and gave it to Kamala Harris by refusing to enforce its expenditure ceilings. Now that's an example of an issue which I think there would be tremendous public interest in, and the public would begin to start watching the Ethics Commission.
Well, why is it, I mean, if they put the Taxi Commission and all these other minor commissions on, that the Ethics Commission is not already part of the schedule? I mean, why has it been excluded?
Well, you got to remember, the ethics commissioners have this mindset that they're quasi-judicial officers, and they want to be judges. And they don't see the television camera as being an appropriate complement to a court. What they're missing is that they're a political institution, and that in order to gain support for their budget and their programs, they have to develop political support. And that's why televising these hearings is so important.
Okay, so what can you do about that?
Well, I've talked to Supervisor Daley, who's the chair of the Budget Committee, and I think he's showing us a sympathetic ear to adding this back to the Ethics Commission's budget. It's only around a $30,000 cost.
Tell me about corporate contributions that you went after or you attempted to go after.
Well, Aaron Peskin introduced legislation which is now enacted, which bans corporate contributions to candidate-controlled committees. My problem with it was it didn't go nearly far enough. We just looked at one part of the spectrum of non-individual giving. There's trusts, there's partnerships, and there's unions. And if you're going to go after the corporations, you should go after everyone equally.
Well, the unions would never allow that, would they?
We're not talking about, we're not a government of the unions yet.
No, but the city is pretty much in the control, as the state is, when it comes to government, by the powerful unions involved.
I think that San Francisco has a different form of progressivism right now. The unions are the 800-pound gorilla in many rooms. It needs to be addressed. It's not only on this issue, it's also on the issue of lobbying. There are no union lobbyists in town, and the definition of a lobbyist is someone who tries to influence legislative or administrative action. And we all know the unions are out there trying to do that.
They are not only trying to do it, but they're expending extraordinary amounts of money bringing in specialists who do that.
And there's no disclosure.
Under the radar.
There's no disclosure. The Ethics Commission's position is no one's brought any evidence to them of this.
No evidence of union influence in San Francisco politics.
And therefore the Ethics Commission has its eyes closed to the problem.
It seems to me, after talking with you, Joe, for a short time here, that the problem that we started with, the question I started with, is right there at the Ethics Commission. It is the Commission itself that's causing this problem, not outside forces. The outside forces don't have to do anything except let this Commission just languish in its own inactivity.
The Commission is suffering from inertia. A body tends to continue
It's practically
doing
brain dead.
what it's doing. Well, the problem is that when the Ethics Commission was formed in 1994, they brought in Jane Rubin as its first executive director, who didn't want to upset anything. They gave it a budget of $140,000 when Mayor Jordan had conceded that it needed at least $300,000. Then they brought in Ginny Vida, who was a school teacher.
But you're a member of the Green Party.
Right.
The Progressives control a good deal of the power at City Hall. I do not understand how this Ethics Commission can survive in its present composition with that many forces at work. It seems to me there are more people that want to watch this commission become an inertia and stay its inertia. So why haven't you been able to influence the progressives in the city that fought the battles in the first place to get the commission formed?
The single most important officer with respect to the budget under the city charter is the mayor. 2 years ago, we did try to do something. We had Prop C. Prop C was a charter reform which would have given the Ethics Commission control over its own budget. The mayor argued against it.
Mayor Newsom?
Mayor Newsom argued against it, saying he'd take care of it. Don't worry, the civil grand jury report had just come out. He was planning on rectifying it in future budgets. Since then, he hasn't given the Ethics Commission anything. I mean, there may have been $30,000, but it needs another $1 million. $1 million a year.
What does that tell you?
It tells me that the mayor doesn't want the Ethics Commission to be successful. Neither did Mayor Brown. Neither did Mayor Jordan.
The mayors don't want it.
Right.
And is that because there are more ways to get contributions into advertising and direct mail under the radar, and they don't want it spotted deliberately?
You know, it's hard for me to pin down exactly where the money flows in the city because we don't have full disclosure. There are two ways people get rich off of money in politics in San Francisco, it seems to me. One is by dealing with the city's city hands out $6 billion in money every year. That's its budget. Another way you get rich is to get a hold of something like Treasure Island or Hunters
Well,
Point.
we're way off. I'm not going to go in that direction because I only got a minute left. And I want you to keep going back to that same issue. Is it that the regulations don't exist so that mayoral candidates especially can go under the radar, or are the regulations there but they're not being enforced?
The regulations are not being enforced, and we need better regulations.
Okay. Well, you mean so it's a both?
Right.
And
we need smarter regulations. We need to have regulations which make sense in terms of enforcement.
And you're going to continue that fight, obviously.
That's
right.
right.
It doesn't look like you have much of an army right now.
I don't know. The Harvey Milk Club just voted unanimously to endorse my call for televising the Ethics Commission's meetings.
Okay, I'm for that, and I hope that we help that by doing this today, televising this debate.
Thank you
Joe
very
Lynn,
much.
thanks for being with us.
Bye-bye.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.